Welcome to the Auto Create Zone. Hopefully we can make some of your things in your life easier. Okay, let's just start off with the basics. I'm not here to teach you how to program. That's too complicated. I can give you ideas and suggestions along those lines. What I am here is to teach you how to automate the things you need to automate and then take it from there. Pretty much that simple. All right, now, most of the stuff I've built myself. These are all my own tools. Other people I've let them use these tools along these lines. We can make some of these things in your life easier. It's all tools that I've written. Now, people complained in some of the other videos that I do that I'm not using my own voice. There's reasons why I don't do that, and you're going to hear some coughing, you're going to hear some lapses, whatever it happens to be, some irregularities, basically, any way you want to look at it. And it deals with health issues that I have and things along those lines, so I don't generally do my own voiceovers. But for these segments and these videos, yes, that's what you get. So if you don't like that, sucks to be you. I'm tired of people complaining, oh, we don't like the AI, we don't like this, we don't like that. Well, don't like it. It's your choice. Now, this will be the first video. We'll get them better as we go along, because this is all just called winging it. I'm just saying whatever comes to mind as I'm going through things. Okay, so that's the bottom line. So on with the video. Okay, let's start off by saying I'm not going to be teaching you how to program. What I am going to do is teach you how to get better ideas, make those ideas work for you, and increase your productivity a little bit maybe. So what we wanted to do initially, because we're creating videos for YouTube, is simplify the process, make it easier to do. Now, we started off by doing this all manually. So you have to make the images, put it all together, make all the other files, make all the texts individually in, say, Photoshop or whatever. A very long-consuming thing. So what we did instead is we started writing code that would do that. Now, I'm running on Linux, Linux Mint, and it's really easy to set up an internal server so that we can run PHP, we can run all kinds of other things and make it all work for us. So that's what we did. Now, this is a video creation that we do, and this is a very, very simple one. For this one here, only uses 8 images. So we go open it up, find the right one, go to my images, and select the 8 images we're going to use. And, oh, we don't have our text file made yet. So what we have to do is make corrections to this file. So we go to get the file. This particular one here. Now, I'll explain why we do this in a minute. So it's really quick. And what that did actually was modify this particular file. And it takes all the references that are, in this case, HOA, because the text-to-speech doesn't recognize HOA properly and wants to turn it into some kind of word instead of pronouncing the letters as HOA. So that corrects for that. We had to write that too. Now, these two files are the images, and this is the script file that we've taken earlier. Now what we're going to do is apply some types of animation to these particular images, and once again, this all had to be written, and we'll explain all that goes in a couple of minutes. And we have a couple of choices for what speaker we want to use. We're just going to use the standard one here, and we're going to give it a file name. And then we click on Create Video. Well, I guess we didn't do that. Let's go down. Thought we did. Okay. So this is done in a couple of steps and a couple of stages. Now, we're not going to work through this whole thing right now for this, because it's a long process. This can take 10 minutes or whatever to actually do, maybe sometimes a little bit longer. So we're going to stop looking at that right now, and we'll move on to the next step in a minute. It's just so you can understand what's happening here. It's actually building the video file, and it's broken it into 1, 2, and 3 chunks. It'll break it into as many chunks as it needs. The text-to-speech only allows so many characters. It's 5,000 characters, so we want to stay under that and break it into chunks, and we'll reassemble those chunks a little bit later. Okay, we're at the point now where we're going to do Whisper. What Whisper actually does is it converts sound files to text files. It also will do subtitle files, which is what we're after. So we click on a little button, and it brings us up into our main thing. We have things we can do. We're going to choose a small model, just only because it works about the best. And we're not going to generate any error output whatsoever. And we're going to create, instead of using just an SRT file, we're actually going to create an AS file. So while that's working, that takes a little bit of time. And what this does is this whole routine is designed to hard code subtitles directly into the video. And it'll do it at a very large size. And our placement now is going to be near the top of the screen. So that runs for a while, so we'll just come back a little bit later when that's kind of done. Now, as previously mentioned, all this runs off an internal server or servers. Now, when I was talking about the text files, turning them into subtitles and everything else, the way we used to do it was we used to make panels. Now, originally we did this in Photoshop, and we did them one panel at a time, very, very time consuming. But we decided to write this instead. And so we open it up, and we just say we want that file there. Now what this does, we can use ODT files, docx, doc files, or text files. It doesn't make any difference. We set our Pong width and our Pong height. PNG files have a transparent background, which is what we're after. We have to set our word wrap. We do all that. We set the colors. The colors can be whatever we want them to be. We set the fonts and background or stroke, right? We usually go for stroke, and then we just upload the file. And then we wait for it to complete. And I'll show you in a minute what that kind of looks like when we download it and open it up. Okay, so it's completed. This usually actually takes a while. It's a lot of work. So we download the zip. We stick it in panels. Then we find our panel box. We open that up and extract it all. Now, this is what they look like. And this is what we used to actually stick in the videos. So what we used to have to do is insert this. Generally we insert them, and we set the image thing for say 30 seconds in OpenShot, and then we adjust it to fit so that the words and the vocals actually match this, and then we move on to the next one. Fairly time consuming. So instead we have Whisper. And so this is the Whisper. Now it's completed. It tells you everything that has actually happened. It tells you how long it took for the Whisper to actually complete. It's 85 seconds, which isn't that bad, right? It gives you all your other information on here, how long it took to convert it to an AS file. An AS file is just basically a better version of an SRT. And so we just download that, and we download it to the correct file, and we save that. Now, when we go open up that file,
I'm finally free. Free from the endless nonsense, the petty power trips, and the outright harassment.
so this is what we're talking about. We're talking about the size of the files. The words on the screen are quite large, easy to read.
Well, they've got
And it
another
matches.
thing coming. I'm suing the hell out of them, and I'm not.
And what you can see, the animation in the background actually works. On this particular version of this video encoder, it actually sets everything up in 50-second increments.
4 years of watching them change rules on the fly just to.
So that's the way that all works. Now, when you're dealing with making things, for us, we wanted to do it for free. And everything we do now is free. Technically speaking, we do not actually even need any kind of a version of a video editor. We can actually bypass all that, and we can actually use this thing because it actually builds the videos for us. Completely. Excuse me. Start to finish. Okay, it is not as easy as it sounds. There's a lot of work that goes into it. There's a lot of coding, programming. Most of this stuff is written in PHP. However, we also use what's called server level things. For the Whisper, we have to use Python. And so we have to be able to call Python along those lines. Now, what it is for programming, if you don't know a lot of PHP, that's okay. There's ways around that. Right? So what we do is we do something along these lines. So we see if we can find that now. Nope, that's not it. Where'd it go? Okay. We use Noi. Noi is basically it's AI. Now it does ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Poe, Perplexity, Copilot, Hugging Face, a bunch of other things along these lines. That's what it does. Now, bear in mind, this is important. These things make mistakes. You have to constantly keep on top of it. You cannot use this to write a 50,000 line program. It's just not going to happen. It'll be so filled with errors, the odds are it'll cut off, won't even actually do it. But you can do things in sections. So say I want to do this. I want to open it up and get information from a database, right? So what I have to do is do this. I type PHP so it knows what I want, and then create a script that opens a database and a table using my squirrely. Now, if you made mistakes typing like I just did, well, you can just correct that. Bear in mind, this isn't perfect. But there you go. Code. You can see it didn't take very long. Now, I can go through it. I can explain how this all works. It's just the server itself, server name. That could be an IP address. It could be whatever else. Localhost is because I'm on a local host. Now I need a username, user password, and what the database name is. Right? And this actually is what calls it. Right? This checks the condition if it fails or it doesn't. Right? And this has a create database if it doesn't exist. I don't recommend using that. I just get rid of that. Right? And that's just the basics of it. Now, it's the same thing. This is free to download and use. I don't know if this is available under Windows or not, but it doesn't have to be. You can actually go online. You can do it out of a web browser. Everything else along those lines. Now, same thing for images. Excuse me. In images, we have this. I use this one a lot. We use this one to actually create the images we just used. Right? This has a very much a free version. Of course, it's limited to how many times you can do it a day, but you get 4 images for a credit. So fairly cheap. The upgrade is $8 a month, and now you can basically the odds are, unless you're pounding it, you're never going to run out of credits for that month. All right? Once again, that's free. Other ones that are free. ImageSec wants me to sign in. FX. Once again, it's a prompt. No limits. You can do this all day. And it creates images. You can change the landscape. You can see square, portrait, landscape, mobile portrait, mobile landscape, etc., etc., etc. We use the landscape, this one, just because that's the size that we use for all our things here. That one is, once again, is free. Microsoft. That's not Microsoft. Where'd Microsoft go? There it is, Microsoft. Excuse the coughing. Been sick. Microsoft, same thing. You type in a prompt. It gives you one image. All right? And once again, it's free. Okay. Then we got this one here. Night Cafe. Once again, it's free. So there's a lot of options that you can actually do. So that's your images covered. Now, if you're not really good at writing scripts, ChatGPT and others like that will actually write scripts for you, or narratives, stories, whatever it happens to be. Now, you got to be careful on how you utilize these things, and you have to go over them because sometimes there's some mistakes in it. But what I like to use them for is what's called grammar correction. So I write something, looks fine to me, and then I push it through, say, ChatGPT, and ask it to correct the grammar. Pretty simple. And once again, you have a free version of that. It's all free. Under Unix, I use Genie most of the time for programming because it just does a really good job. And once again, it's free. Free is a standard that will be through all the videos I do, and that's what we want to be able to do. Okay, we need to probably conclude this because it's been kind of all over the map, and I realize that. Sorry about that. I just get a little carried away in different directions. Now, like I said before, you do not have to have a dedicated video editor. I use OpenShot, and OpenShot is available for Mac, as far as I know, for Windows, and for Linux. So it's got you well covered. Now, there's a reason why I use that, and I'll go into that with a different video. But to conclude this, what we're going to do is we're going to open it up, and we have a template file that we like. So recent projects, there's our template file there. All right, and then we just save the project before we do anything else. And this is 431, and this is 431. Name it, and it's Sue. Now, because there's only the one thing, like we have all the stuff that we generally use in here, and this is designed for doing multiple videos, or multiple video segments. So we're just going to remove that. Just click on it, and there it goes. And we just take and we just drop this in there. Move it to the here. Where'd it go? Back there. Put our comment file. You didn't see us build the comment file, but we did that. Right? We're going to check here. Save it. Always save stuff, period. Now we need a last minute image for the end of it. So we put that there. We expand the hell out of this thing just so we can get that thing. That's our ender. That's where he asks for people to do subs or whatever they happen to be. And then we just want to progress that one a little bit. Right? And then we add our thank you. Okay, now we also, we're at 12, so say 6.5 minutes. At about the 6.5 minute mark, edit preferences. We want to set this one for just 10 seconds, just to make life simple. And this is just basically for our subscribe thing. Now, this is the reason I like this so much. Now, this is an image that we can manipulate, add animations to, and things along these lines. So what we do, make it a simple animation. There, start from the start, from the end. Make it big. Okay, now, if I run it through here, so you can see what's going to happen in this window.
Not after the way they tried to sabotage my closing. So here I am, standing my ground, fighting back, and I'm not stopping until they feel the full weight of what they've done.
Now, in most of the other editors, animating an image is incredibly difficult. You have to set up all these points, and you have to do this. Very, very complicated. OpenShot does this on anything. As simple as that. If I'm just using nothing but images, each image I can actually make a separate animation for and make it do something. All right, so now we just save it. Everything is ready to go. And we just click on this button here. We already got everything set up the way we want it to. And we just go to export. Now, on my particular system, this is fairly quick. Right now I'm doing, it says around 42, 43 frames a second. We can get it as high as a little over 50 frames a second. And that deals with the CPU I'm using and the graphics card. So, we'll just let that thing run on its own. And if you enjoyed this video, well, click subscribe, do whatever you need to do along those lines. And we're just here to just give information. And I hope you found some information valuable. You can actually take it to the next level and see what you can do for yourself. Okay, thanks. Have a great day.
I would like to thank you for watching the video to the end. To encourage us to make more videos, please like, subscribe, comment, as well as share. Check out this other video if you haven't already.